Welcome back. And today we're going to be looking at age gap dating. Is it a good idea? And would you do it? Welcome to When the Fuck Did I Become Old? The fun, edgy and unapologetically honest podcast about the experiences of aging, where, as the title suggests, nothing is off the table. I'm your host, Jo Parker.
And I'm Kev. So we're going to have a look at that topic.
We are.
For a couple of reasons, really. Mm-hmm. We've been watching a TV series, haven't we?
Yeah.
Age of Attraction. So there's a Netflix series, for those of you who don't know, called Age of Attraction. Mm-hmm. And that's all about age gap dating.
Yeah. And then there was an article in the paper written by someone called Julie Birchell.
Yeah.
And she was looking at dating down for herself and what happens that. But the Age of Attraction was like set in British Columbia in Canada. And it's put a bunch of single people of all ages into a kind of what it is, I suppose, speed dating environment, speed/slow dating, where you
in a mountain resort
and set in a beautiful environment where they get to know each other, but they're not allowed to ask or to tell each other's ages. So, and then it is a bit of a car crash TV when they find out each other's ages, because at that point they have committed to each other without knowing their ages. And it's a bit like Married at First Sight afterwards, when they go off and they live with each other. Yeah. And then when they go off and live with each other, then they are at certain times in the program, which they have no idea when that's going to be, they have to go out into the world and introduce
and we'll get into that in a bit more detail, because we're going to talk about each of the couples
we
that
are
in that final.
But they have to introduce the person to their family and friends, and do they or do they not disclose the age? In some instances, it's glaringly obvious that there's a big age difference.
And for those of you on YouTube, when we get through the couple profiles, we'll actually put up a little picture.
Will we?
Yeah,
okay.
We'll put up a little picture of each of the couples, just so you know which. For those of you who are watching the series, you go, it's them.
Okay.
But before we get into that, just thinking about the concept of age gap dating. Mm-hmm. There are some real people we know in our lives.
We do.
So we had a little bit of a think about that, and about, can we relate to people in the real world who are in that sort of scenario?
Well, so the thing is, though, with age gap, according to the Office of National Statistics, the age gap is 10 years. So we struggled a bit, didn't we, to get...
So let's do the definition thing then first.
Go on.
So when we talk about what is age gap dating, because, I mean, technically, we're 18 months apart.
Yeah.
So, but that's not age gap. So as Jo said, the ONS, who do measure marriages, by the way, by age gap, you got to be more than 10 years apart from your partner for it to be considered an age gap relationship. And in the case of the TV series, the shortest one they had, I think, was like 15 years apart, maybe 13 years apart. It might have been the shortest one. And the longest one was 33 years apart. But so... do we know anybody who's done that? Well, we kind of know a handful of couples that are close to that.
Yeah, I was going to say they're on the 10 year,
most of them,
aren't they? Yeah.
we were talking about it, and most of them are just inside, like 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
One we think is 10, possibly.
We've got one that's 14.
Right. Then there's one the other side who's 14. And when you think about it, I was trying to just come to a view, like, is there any obvious gap? Like, can we spot anything obvious about the nature of those relationships that looks unusual? And the only thing, what was the common characteristic? The common characteristic, I suppose, in the people that we personally know, is that it's always the man who's the eldest.
Yeah. It is the people
in that handful of couples that we know.
I have recently met a woman who's 11 years older than her husband.
Right. But the ones we were talking about, it was all men. And just to sort of share a little observation on, because a couple of those I've known for a long time, right? A little observation on, well, okay, why does that come about? How does that come about? So some of that I get through personal experience, which is that I got married quite late, right? I got married at 39. Mm-hmm. And a couple of my mates got married actually even later. So when you're dating at that age, or trying to get married at that age, the playing field has kind of evaporated. I mean, I remember it.
Of your own peer group?
Yeah, of my own peer group. So all the people I went to uni with, etc., they were married years before I was. So a bunch of us started dating down in our 30s,
Right.
just because there was nobody left. So,
Yeah.
so you had to date down because everybody else had gone. And for the few that were left around, because clearly those of us who were bachelors until almost 40, we were bachelors because we were having a bloody great time and having a fantastic life and doing exciting things. And we weren't terribly interested, to be fair, in having kids at that particular point in time. And if you're dating a 30-something woman, the odds of not finding one who wants kids are pretty fucking small.
Not of finding one.
Well, okay, the odds of finding
one that doesn't want kids. Yeah, sorry.
So the point was, if you were dating in your mid-30s as a male in Clapham, which we all were, and you didn't want kids tomorrow, you had to be dating a 20-something woman. You couldn't date a 30-something woman because she would literally be knocking on your door going, when are we having kids? Because the biological clock's ticking. And that was our experience. So we all dated down.
Nothing to do with the young blondes or anything like that with nice bodies. Nothing to do with that.
That's a bonus. But no, I'm telling you, the driver was peer groups fucking evaporated.
Right.
And the ones you can find have got the biological clock ringing heavily in their ears. And the only conversation is children. And if that's not a conversation you want to have, you got to find somebody where that's not ringing yet, right?
Okay.
And so we all dated down. And I ended up marrying down too.
I know.
But not as big as 10 years.
No,
anyway,
not as big as 10 years.
But anyway, so that was just one little observation. From the handful of people that we had, that was a little observation I wanted to share. Now, you mentioned again, there's this article that we saw in the Sunday papers, right? That Julie Birchell wrote. And she talks about a couple of celebrities.
She's got, I've got the article on my lap here, but she has got quite she goes into depth in a couple of celebrities, but she does point out a lot of celebrities. But she mainly talks about women older than men.
Yeah, the other way around.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I do. So the women that are older than men that she actually lists and talks about in her article in the You magazine is herself. She is called Julie Birchell, and she's 65 now, and her husband Daniel is 53. And for her, what happened was that she, they were having a great time. It didn't really matter. She didn't really care if people thought that he was her son. If that happened, she'd openly snog him, etc. They were having a great time, rampant sex, etc.
When they originally got together.
Then in recent years, she suffered something, and I can't remember what it was, that meant that she was wheelchair bound. So suddenly this younger man is her carer, and he has to lift her in and out of the bath. She's capable of doing most things, but she's grateful for the fact that he's young enough to do that, because if she'd married, 14 years older, he wouldn't be able to do that. However, she's painfully aware that they're no longer, having a lot of sex, and they're no longer doing a lot of things together, and that he is 53 and he may well move on. She does know that might happen, and she wouldn't blame him. Obviously, it'd be devastating, because not only is it devastating to lose the ability to move, she's then going to lose the main relationship in her life because of that. So she wrote the article. Right. She's then looked at Joan Collins, who is now 93. I didn't know she was 93, and her husband is 61. And when Joan is asked, and has been like this for a while, when Joan is asked about whether the age difference matters to her, she says, "Oh no, if he dies, I'll get someone else." So she has no perception of the fact that she's 93, and she has had quite a lot of work done. She mentions Vanessa Feltz as well, who Vanessa then has a whole page article on this, who at 44 married a man who was 34, 10 years difference. And she goes into it in quite depth about how actually it didn't work. Whereas, you can pretend that it's because you are, you're looking gorgeous and actually you're fabulous for 44. Things that are painfully aware for her is that she was painfully aware of is the fact that her biological clock had finished. She was no longer able to or wanting to have children, and he did.
Right.
The fact that she has got children means that her body wasn't doing quite the same as it was. So it didn't look the same, and that he was 34 years old, and there was a glaringly obvious difference in how he looked to how she looked, even though she said she did do Botox to sort of stop herself from looking cross. And she then quoted a similar age difference between Demi Moore and, what's her name? Kutcher.
Oh, Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher.
They had a massive age difference.
No, it wasn't that big. It was only 20. He was 25, she was 40. It was only 15 years. It wasn't massive. But Demi Moore spent a couple of £100,000 on new boobs, new bum, new knees, new face, the whole thing. She tried to look young in order to keep him, and she didn't end up.
I mean, I remember he was kind of, to me, he was like a kid when he married her.
It was. And then Vanessa Feltz said, it was tiring. It was really tiring to try and maintain looking young and actually being famous. Everybody knows how old she is. Everybody knows she was born in 1962. Everybody knows that because it's there. She said it's all over the internet should you choose to look. She also said that when she went through menopause, going through menopause is really difficult enough anyway. She had to hide it all. She felt she had to hide it all. And then at the end of it, he cheated on her. So, difficult for Vanessa Feltz. So, it is tougher for women.
So the older woman dynamic is a tougher dynamic than the older man.
Yeah, and the stats prove it as well in terms of what.
So let's have a little look at those stats then. So why do all our stats come from the ONS? I don't know why. The ONS is a busy place, and the Office of National Statistics.
YouGov's quite good as well. People's opinions.
They can do everything. Yeah. But anyway, so marriage, right? So the ONS measures age gap. It can't measure age gap relationships out in the wild because nobody knows how many of them there are.
Marriage.
But it can measure them at marriage, right? So, a couple of observations from them. So, first of all, and I think we've talked about this a little bit before, which is that in general, less people are getting married anyway, right? So the rate of marriage is declining slightly. Also, it is being deferred. So when they do get married, they're getting married this next generation are getting married approximately 10 years later than the previous generation. Now, when you look at the age gap stuff, and again, 10 years is the threshold, right?
Yeah.
So it used to be, just at the millennium, 2000, that 11% of all marriages were older men, younger women. So that's 1 in 9, right? And that's with a 10-year plus gap. Nowadays, measured only last year, actually, in 2025, it's 7.5%. So that's reduced. That's reduced. If you look at the other way around, older women, younger men. So again, back at the millennium, 2000, 2.5% of all marriages were inverted age gap, older woman, younger man.
Over 10 years, yeah.
Over 10 years, yeah. And now it's 1.3%. So it's like very, very few. There are not many relationships of that nature that make it to marriage. And then, of course, now there's same-sex stats. They didn't have same-sex stats 25 years ago, so we haven't got a historic benchmark for that. But now that same-sex marriage is available, we have stats for that. So female same-sex marriage, similar to the old man thing, actually, 11% is the rate of same-sex marriage where older woman, younger woman, 10-year gap or 10-year plus gap.
Okay.
If you look at the male-to-male marriages, 23%, 1 in 4 almost, of traditional gay marriages.
Yeah,
I think
they are now.
Male is now traditional gay marriage. 23% of those are age gap. So what do we take from all of that as a phenomenon? Well, it seems to be that
men,
where there's a lot of it about, it's driven by men, right? It's not really driven by women. So when
younger model.
When women choose younger men, there's only 1.3% of it. When women choose younger women, there's only 11% of it. The male stats, both ways round, much higher. Yeah. Much higher. So there you go, some sort of bizarre, distinct preference.
I don't think it's bizarre. I don't think it's bizarre at all. But I think it's that old sort of like money buys looks type thing.
Well, yeah, so there is then you get into the dangerous territory of essentially is all marriage prostitution.
Yeah, you do get into the dangerous territory of is all marriage prostitution.
Is it just is it just an exchange of, money for youth? But
well, no, it isn't. That isn't the prostitution, though.
Well,
is it just an exchange of money for youth?
But anyway, we're getting off topic.
Shall we get?
So back to the age gap stuff. So
well, let's look at real life people then who've got real life opinions and do real life actions.
Well, hang on a second then. So there are a distinct set of pros and cons that are associated with age gap marriages, which we will get onto later. but just trailering it now.
Okay.
There are some financial differences, some physical differences, some sexual differences, and some psychological differences that come with age, right? And we'll get into that a bit later on. But let's talk now about the age of attraction.
Yeah, which is the real life people and the real life reasons for doing it. So there were 6 couples, weren't there? They were focusing on.
But let's just sort of amplify slightly the process for those who haven't seen the program. So you mentioned a bit of it at the beginning, right? But for anyone who's seen Love is Blind or Married at First Sight, there are some similarities to the structure of that process, right? Yeah. Where you find a partner. Mm-hmm. As you say, in this particular scenario, they weren't allowed to discuss age. But so there was a mixed pool of partners, bit of speed dating goes on. You decide who you want to develop a relationship with. And if you wanted to lock on to somebody particular, there was this concept of the promise room. You take them to the promise room where you then exchange some rings to say, I want to pursue just a conversation and a set of relationships with you and nobody else. Yeah. For those that did that, those couples then go outside the retreat. They go into a bunch of tower blocks and live in a bunch of apartments together, and they have to live together. So the
tower blocks are actually in Vancouver. It's lovely.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. No, I wasn't saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a bunch of apartments. It is Vancouver. I love Vancouver. Been there for many times. And at one point I was thinking I would live there actually.
Interesting.
But so they do that. And then they go through this whole bit of living together. And then you've got the introduce the family bit about each one, introduces the family. During that process, they have the option of declaring the age to their loved ones or not. But by that stage, they know each other's ages.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They know each other's ages in the promise room.
Yeah. And then after they've met the family and all that kind of stuff, and perhaps had a few knockbacks in terms of, external perception, then they have to decide, right, am I now going to essentially commit to this person and, go outside the experiment together, or actually is it all too much? I can't bear the judgment or the differences in some cases that they've found in each other. So that's the kind of the process, right?
Before we go any further, I just want to ask you to like, follow, share us with your friends on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or whichever platform you watch us on. Thank you very much.
Joe, why don't you take us to the first couple?
So the first couple in the age of attraction that we're going to talk about is Andrew, 38, Libby, 22, 16-year age gap. His teenage daughters are closer in age to her than she is to him.
I know.
So
that one, I'm not a fan of her, actually.
Why?
Why am I not a fan? Because she's just too young. She's 22. She's literally a child.
Yeah.
And they had a beach scene, didn't they? Where they were just like sharing stuff about their lives and musical tastes and stuff like that. And he mentioned the Spice Girls, right? Now, why on earth he even?
No, he mentioned David Beckham and then was married to Posh Spice.
Oh, he mentioned David Beckham, right? And that was the link to the Spice Girls. Okay, fine.
She didn't know who any of the Beckhams were.
And then she didn't know who the Beckhams were, and she didn't know who the Spice Girls were early. So it was like, he was like, shit, okay, that's a whole period of stuff in the 90s that she doesn't know about. Why? Because she wasn't born. But
he's got previous. So when friends and family joined them, his 2 mates who are about the same age as him in their late 30s did say, you go for younger blondes. 25, I think, was his youngest prior to this. So he has got previous at this price point.
Right. Now, he's a pretty boy.
Yeah.
Attractive, professional, successful. Quite frankly, she's too young. But anyway, they did go all the way to the ceremony, the commitment ceremony, and they opted to live together. I mean, fuck me, that's unbelievable. They opted to live together. She hasn't yet met his kids.
No.
So they got all that far to make that decision. 22. She has no idea what being a stepmom is.
A recap, review and revisit. Sorry, is when years down the line, can we go and have a look, see how they go?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next couple, George, who is 60, and Vanelle, who is 27. There's a 33-year age gap. And on top of that, she is a devout Christian who's a virgin and a celibate and is saving herself.
Saving herself for
God.
God.
But that we discovered in that was grey lines around what her saving herself actually means.
Well, she didn't want to have intercourse, basically.
She wanted everything else, though, and
but,
he was getting a little bit he was getting a little bit frustrated with it. So
obviously, but I mean that was ridiculous. I mean, he's a good-looking guy. He
doesn't look 60.
No, he looks very, very youthful. But did we find out how old his kids were?
No, and he didn't tell her initially he had kids. So right up into the
not even at the promise room. No. Even at the promise room, he didn't tell her he had kids.
We assume they're older than she is.
We absolutely do assume that.
And then there was something that happened. There was a rift between them where somebody approached. It wasn't clear, but somebody approached them on the street, slagging her off. Or something,
right? So I think I put that down to a generational difference, right? So basically, whatever that incident was, he fronted up to the guy. Mm-hmm. He fronted up to the guy, wasn't going to take any shit, and clearly put the guy in his place. Whether that was physically or otherwise, I don't know.
We don't know.
But whatever it was, her reaction to that argument was absolutely a Gen Z job. It was like, oh, no, I don't like you being like that, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, hang on a minute. He was like, no, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to be the defensive one here because you're my woman, blah, blah, blah. And they were just miles off. They were miles off.
They were miles off, right.
And even though she's 27, she's a bit immature for 27. Mm-hmm. So they split really early. I mean, they split like first week.
They did try, but it didn't work. Yeah,
that was just, and quite frankly, 33 years. I mean, come on.
I know.
Have a fucking joke. Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. That's too big. Right.
Next one.
Next up.
And I like this couple. Joan is 27. Theresa is 54. So it's 27 years. So she's twice his age. And she's got 3 kids, one of which is 29.
So he was the same age as Vanelle.
Yes, weird, but he was
felt
so
very
he
different.
looks
felt very
older.
Different.
She looks younger.
Yeah.
Because they got on really, really well. They clearly have feelings for each other. Because she hadn't known how old he was when she got to know him, she decided not to tell her children. So that they wouldn't immediately have the judgment of him being 27.
Because she had a kid who was older than him.
But she didn't want to put that up as a reason not to like him. She wanted them to get to know him in the same way she had, i.e. get to know him for him. It was clear to the children when they met him that he was younger than her, but they anticipated him to be around 35. He allegedly said he didn't want children.
And her eldest kid's 29. 29. And he's 27.
He's 20, yeah, absolutely. But she was very, very aware of the fact that it's a double standard dating age down as a woman in terms of all the judgments that she was going to come up against of going out with somebody
I'm
younger.
not sure I buy that.
What do you mean you're not sure you buy that?
Well, because
people do judge older women. I mean, all this shit that Madonna and Cher get about, all these things are the memes.
I would feel exactly the same about George and Vanelle. Like, seriously, I'd be going, what the fuck are you doing? Serious? 33 years younger?
Yeah, but a lot of people were high-fiving if Vanelle was a little bit more mature in her age. But, I mean...
All I'm saying is that double standard thing, I get that
it's a double standard.
It's a public
meme
thing, but I don't think it's universally true because I think people are...
Even
guys, when you get an age gap that big, they'll go, okay, come on, seriously.
Really?
Yeah. What are you playing at? Yeah. But I mean, she is lovely.
Yeah, she's
Theresa, lovely, fit, very attractive, and not like plastic or anything. She's
Would you
super
like some
genuine.
time alone with her?
No, darling. But she's very attractive and like completely natural about it, but just super fit and, toned, whatever. But I mean, it's 27 and 54.
Yeah.
I mean, the mythical dating minimum is half your age plus 7, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, have you not heard that?
No. Which would be ideal. Where kids have placed them at 35. That is half your age plus 7.
Yeah, so that would work.
Yeah.
But anyway, good luck to them because we actually they're both nice people.
Yeah,
they're both nice people.
And then there was Derek, 43, and Pfeiffer, age 23. So it's a 20-year age gap. She would have to move from Seattle to Dallas. And give up her whole life, and he's got kids. I think the oldest is 15.
Yeah, teenagers, mid-teens. I mean, that in itself is faintly ridiculous. To be fair,
and she's going to move.
The idea of a 23-year-old being a stepmom to a 15-year-old, oh, Jesus, do me a favour.
Well, the other one was 22, being a stepmom to an 18-year-old.
She was terrible. So, I mean, the weird thing here is, I mean, all the guys basically just went for hot women. Right? They went for hot women. And
that's unusual?
Well, in as much as the challenges that they face when they come out, and we saw when they meet the family, etc., they're bloody obvious from day one. Like, if you go, oh yeah, I'm going to introduce my 27-year-old whatever, boyfriend to my 29-year-old daughter or son or whatever, he's like, well, lucky you fucking know that's going to be that's not going to be a great reception.
That's why she kept crying.
But but the guys just went for these ridiculously young girls, and you go, and you're going to tell you've got family and kids and all this shit, and then you're going to ask them to move halfway across America to your state because, of course, you can't move because the kids are in school, blah, blah, blah. You go, get real. I know you want a shag. I know you think that's an attractive option, but in the real world, really? Anyway, so they stayed together, didn't they, Derek and Pfeiffer, at the commitment ceremony?
They did.
I mean, good luck. I mean, she's moving halfway across the fucking US. I mean, I don't know. Giving up her entire life, whatever. Good luck, but I'm not sure personally. Okay. This is why people don't have me as a judge on these shows. So, Chris and Leah?
Yeah, Chris is 26. Leah is 41.
If ever there was a man-child, it's Chris.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Definitely not grown up.
Definitely not. Leah, 41. I mean, 15-year age gap. So the age gap's not like...
she's lovely
completely ridiculous. And she was very, very patient with him. But you could see there was several hallmarks of this is not going to fucking work, right? Because he'd never even lived with anybody ever in his entire life.
From his mummy.
So as soon as they went to flat share, just the concept of the two of them living together and being together, that freaked the shit out of him. Let alone the fact that she's 41. He's just like, somebody's in my space. I don't know what to do about that. Can't go to the gym on my own. Ooh. So that wasn't going great. And also, he was such a little man-child that she had to keep putting him in his place, which meant she started behaving like his mother. So she started behaving as if he was younger and immature, because he is fucking younger and immature. So you could just see, okay, this is not working. This whole dynamic is not working. I mean, then they split at the commitment ceremony. Yeah. And he bailed.
The last one, Logan, 29, and Vanessa, 49. Now, I genuinely thought this was not going to work out. She was never married. She had no children.
Simpler on that basis.
Simpler. She was absolutely paranoid about the age gap.
Paranoid about rejection.
Because all her siblings had been married. She just lost her mum. She was feeling alone, worried that she was going to be...
She's kind of feeling left alone on the shelf, so to speak.
Yeah. And he was 29, and we never really enjoyed watching them because they're just so combative, weren't they? And there doesn't appear to be anything real about them. But
their behaviours were OTT. Yeah. It's like they were both manic or both had ADHD or something. It was just too
much to watch.
It was too much.
But he surprised us, didn't he?
He did. He actually proposed at the commitment ceremony. I mean, I really didn't see that coming. I really thought he was going to bail.
He was going to dump her.
And I thought, to be honest, she'd be all right without him, to be fair.
But she accepted.
But anyway, she accepted. So... Surprise there.
So you wanted to discuss pros and cons, right?
Yes.
Not sure there are any pros. I'm genuinely not sure there are any pros. You got any?
According to the Campaign Against Living Miserably, there are a set of pros. Do you want me to go through them?
Okay, yeah, go through the pros, because I've got a list of them, which in terms of sort of like being the older woman, I don't necessarily agree with.
Okay, well, I'll do the pros then. I was going to do cons because I'm feeling more negative about it.
Well, so, yeah.
But the pros, so the official pros then from CALM, Campaigning Against Living Miserably, for age gap dating are you can obtain a fresh perspective and learning opportunities from your differences. And being with somebody from a different generation obviously exposes you to different viewpoints, different ideas.
So do your children.
You may find yourself learning things you'd never considered, different types of music, different relationship dynamic.
I did that with my children.
All right, fine. So that's one of the potential pros.
Yeah.
Another one, emotional maturity. The older partner might bring emotional stability. Well, I don't doubt that.
Well,
possibly with the exception of Vanessa. But bring emotional stability and wisdom to the relationship, while a younger partner contributes energy and enthusiasm. This can result in a well-balanced dynamic. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yin and yang. I'm not sure. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But that can happen. That can happen in a regular age relationship.
Yes, absolutely it can. Yeah.
Personal growth, another pro apparently. Working together to understand each other's experiences and perspectives. I don't think there's a lot of that going on, to be fair.
No.
Can help you become more empathetic, adaptable, and open-minded. And then the last pro they've got is breaking societal norms, which obviously we've made apparent here.
We don't necessarily think that.
Being in an age gap relationship can empower you to live authentically and push back against societal expectations, which can be liberating. Well, so I can kind of get that, linking to our previous topic
last week?
About doing things that are not expected for your age group. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can get how if you felt you were being parked in a particular corner of the map and you get to date somebody younger, you've got open opportunities to embark in new activities. I get that. I get that.
As Vanessa says in her opening sentence in her article in the You magazine,
Vanessa, not the Vanessa who was in the series.
Oh, no. As Vanessa Feltz said, Freud says you're dating, the age gap is it's mummy or daddy. You're dating your mummy or your daddy. It's not about,
right.
I mean, okay. I can get all this new experience and different viewpoints from my children.
Okay.
Don't need to date someone.
You're not lapping up these pros.
Not lapping up the pros, but as you were feeling negative
so I'm not going to lose you to a 40-year-old man.
Definitely not.
Soon.
Definitely not.
Okay.
No.
So are you going to do cons or do you want me to do cons?
You can do the cons because you were wound up negatively.
Bunch of cons.
I couldn't find any.
Bunch of cons set out by Garm. As we've evidenced in conversation, sometimes the difference in age gap is harder to manage, right? In part, you're going through different phases of life, obviously. And so you can have different priorities, mismatched goals, which can become an issue. One partner focusing on career, another wanting to settle down or retire. So we younger versus older makes it tricky to navigate. Social stigma and judgment, which we've talked about a bit here from the reactions from the kids and from friends. Regularly having to dodge comments and questions about your relationship can be hurtful, annoying, and invasive. And over time, this may wear on you and your partner. Yeah. Now, just on that topic, you've got a bunch of mates, right? From your days as a school mum, you've got a bunch of mates who have kids the age of your kids.
Yes.
Can you imagine having to introduce to them a new boyfriend who was 25?
No.
Because you treat them like a fucking kid, right? You treat them because they're the same age as your children. So that whole peer group thing, that social, like if you're the older party, doesn't matter whether you're male or female, and you're introducing your peer group to somebody the age of all of your children, you're going to get that in the neck. Generational.
Not necessarily, they'll be silent getting that. So I was talking to a man who's definitely dating down.
Right.
Somewhere in the region of sort of like he's in his mid to late 50s and she's 30. And he said they just don't get invited to places because she's a threat.
Yeah.
Women,
well, I can see
what
that
his perception is.
I can see that too. Right, next up, generational differences, another con. Growing up in different eras can lead to misunderstandings, different tastes, different communication styles, different views of the world, which can create barriers. Last one, health and aging concerns.
Yeah.
Which is a great one. I think this is a really good one because when you're 40, you think you're going to live forever. Shagging a 20-something, you think, awesome, that's fantastic. It's not going to be the same when you're 65 and they're 45 or something. And they're going, I still feel quite young. And you're possibly in a different position.
A bit like this woman, Julie, who wrote the article.
Yeah. Although she had a specific health incident. But yeah. So differences in aging become more noticeable over time, especially if one partner requires care or support. So there we go. So it sounds like we're heavily on the con side, doesn't it?
Well, I am definitely on the con side. Yeah,
me too. So would we or wouldn't we?
No.
You wouldn't?
No. Oh my goodness, you're hesitating.
I'm thinking. So, okay.
I'm in trouble. Fuck.
So more than 10 years, I'm thinking very hard about this.
Really?
Yes. So I've never dated more than 10 years difference.
Right.
What's the largest age gap? 8, I think.
Mm-hmm.
8 years was the lot, which I could do. I could do 8.
Mm-hmm.
More than 10, I would really struggle. Now, why wouldn't I do it? And this is a unique thing for me.
Okay.
So why wouldn't I do it? Because I'm sufficiently myopic, right? Mm-hmm. That I can't actually talk to people who don't like my music at any length of detail, or develop a romantic relationship with them. I just can't do it. So if they don't understand the musical scene that I grew up in and the bands that I like, I'm like, oh God, I don't know what your reference point is, but I'm not getting you at all. So I couldn't do it purely on that basis. That if you didn't understand the stuff that's in my record collection and you didn't understand why it was important to me, then quite frankly, you're for somebody else.
I couldn't do it for different reasons. I can do it for...
Yeah, yours are different reasons.
Yeah, I can do it. So if I was dating somebody who was, let's say, 12 years younger than me, then they could be dating somebody who's 12 years younger than them. So the competition is incredible. It's like, oh, fuck, I'm competing with somebody who's 24, 25 years younger than me. There is no competition. Vanessa Feltz says the same. There is absolutely no competition. You can't do it.
See, I don't even think about that. I don't even think about the competition. I mean, it could be an issue, but I don't think about it because I made the music thing such a big deal that if I go back to one of my early dating profiles on internet dating.
Oh, I know you're dating profile.
But they don't. I'm going to tell them.
Okay.
So my dating profile, back in the day when I was doing that 2015-ish, that particular iteration, there was a radio station, it doesn't exist anymore, but there was a radio station called XFM. It's now Radio X. And on my dating profile, I said, I'm an XFM fan, and if you don't know what that is, don't even message me because I have nothing to talk to you about. Like, that was the opening line of my day. It was that I was like, seriously, if you don't fucking know that, you're dead to me. Don't bother. So no, I wouldn't on that hugely open-minded and flexible basis.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't based on looks. So yeah.
And competition.
Fair
enough. So I hope you found that entertaining. We're away on holiday.
Yeah, we are.
Next time you hear from us, we're going to be in Greece.
Yeah, we'll do it
live from Kefalonia. So that's a wrap for this week. If you want to watch Age of Attraction, it's on Netflix. Yeah. If you've got any views on this topic, by all means, message us directly or comment on the episodes on the platform of your choice. And we'll be back again next week from Greece. Enjoy. See you soon.